From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, son.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Well, the storm system is knocking on our door, but it is taking its own sweet time getting here. Many of us still seeing those dry conditions here through the morning hours, but we will eventually see that rain begin to move in. Looking at Elk Country, just north of Trinidad earlier today, you can see the overcast skies, even a few breaks in the clouds. We take you out to Lake Oroville, also a few breaks in the clouds here and there, but really not much in the way of rainfall for really any of us through the morning. You see out towards Trinity Center, some breaks there. Notice the snow that we still have on the ground. A lot of that is going to melt as we get rain on top of that snow for some of those lower elevations that did see that snow last weekend. There's a look at Lassen Park, the south entrance. This is at 6,700 feet, so most likely any precipitation we do see in this area here at that elevation will most likely be in the form of new, fresh snow. So looking at the weather headlines, showers return today and tonight. Just depends on where you are. Starts off on the coast, eventually in the valley, and then the eastern mountains later on tonight. Off and on rain into next week with snow levels above 5,000 to 6,000 feet. At their lowest 5,000, but I do expect them to be closer to 6,000 feet and higher. Flooding concerns, that's something we've got to watch because not only will we see heavy rainfall, but with those higher snow levels, we are going to see some snow melt in many of those mountain communities that did see that snow over the weekend and even early this week. So the storm impacts. Heavy rain with the combination of high snow levels is going to bring the potential for more snow melt, and on top of that, meaning potential for flood as well. So that snow melt will increase runoff. More flooding in low-lying areas is a possibility. And, this is insult to injury. You think about what happened on the North Coast last weekend, and now we're going to be looking at another event where we could be looking at more damage, more property damage out towards that area here. Mudslides and debris flows are also going to be an issue, most likely, for many of the mountain highways as well, especially on Highway 199 out in Del Norte County, not to mention Trinity County and Highway 299. And, of course, many of the other mountain road highways where we see some of that heavier rainfall as well is going to be an issue. And the winds are also going to be gusty. You can see for the valley between 25 and 35 miles per hour, and the mountains between 40 and 50 miles per hour. There's the area of low pressure. There's the moisture it's tapping into. But as I mentioned, it's taking its time getting here. It's going to eventually start to see swirl on in and then push itself off to the east here as we take you into the afternoon and not to mention this evening. So let's walk you through the timing. 3 o'clock today, the bulk of the rain is in southern Humboldt and even parts of southern Trinity County. Anything we see in advance of that could be in the way of a light passing sprinkle. So even in the afternoon, there could be some light sprinkles for parts of the valley. But really, for the most part, it's looking fairly dry, minus, of course, where we're seeing that heavier rainfall. By 6 p.m., it pushes off to the east. It looks like it's starting to lose a little bit of its intensity as it does move over the mountains. But we're still seeing some of that heavy rainfall in some spots. Rain in the valley, heavier rainfall east of the valley. Notice we're seeing some blue. That's the snow on the map, but we're not seeing a lot of it because we're still going to have to go above 5 or even 6,000 feet before you start seeing any significant snow. Still not very wet for Modoc and parts of Lassen and eastern Plumas County. But you could still see a few showers here at this point. Now the heavier showers begin to move in here overnight tonight, but it looks like they just hover over many of the mountains here east of the valley. This is where we could be looking at the potential for some flooding in some of those areas, especially if this rain holds on for quite some time. But you can see we're on the back edge of that main batch of moisture. But look at this. We've got another disturbance right here that'll be coming in tonight and into Saturday. In fact, Saturday morning, we're seeing another round of heavy rainfall for the coast, for Trinity County, western Siskiyou County, and it's just beginning to make its way into the valley. Now, it looks like we're seeing just a bit of shadowing in the valley by noon, but I do anticipate still to see some rainfall. I'm also going to watch for the potential of a convergence line, especially if we do have those gusty south winds. We could see a bit of a convergence line for north of the Redding area here, and that could also localize, produce some flooding around the Redding area or north of it. Again, that's something we're going to have to watch. That's not really guaranteed just yet. But as you can see, some heavy rain. The snow will be heavy above 5,000 or 6,000 feet. But so with that being said, there is the potential for some chain requirements over some of the higher mountain passes. But I'm not necessarily concerned about chain requirements for travel this weekend. It's just going to be the wet roads, the heavy downpours, and the gusty winds that will be associated with the storm system as well. So just give yourself a little bit of extra time as you're driving in those heavy downpours. Taking a look at 6 p.m., heavy rainfall for Delaware County, but we're beginning to see Saturday afternoon things starting to kind of wrap themselves up a little bit here. But it looks like we've got another round coming in Saturday night into Sunday morning. Snow levels, as you can see here, we could be looking at above 5,000 or 6,000 feet, which would mean possibility for some chain requirements there. Now, taking it through the day on Sunday, what you'll notice is we're starting to see things begin to break apart. So it's going to be mainly Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon, we could see a bit of a break before the next round comes in on Monday. Do you want to mention that the Storm Prediction Center is giving us a chance for some thunderstorms, possibly for southwestern portions of Humboldt County on Sunday? That being said, throughout this entire event, Saturday and Sunday, pretty much anywhere could be looking at the potential for some thunderstorms here as we go into the next few days. Forecast rainfall totals looking pretty impressive. I think we could see over an inch for parts of the valley, not to mention as we head out towards the north coast as well. And as we take a look at the long range forecast, this is looking at just one particular forecast model. It might be doing, it's been kind of going back and forth between 4 and upwards of 5 inches of rain for the Redding area. So 2 to 4 inches is a very good possibility, I think, especially for the north end of the valley, maybe 2 to 3 inches possible as you head south of the Redding area. But you can also see some heavy rainfall out towards the coast. Again, that insult to injury due to the fact that we could be looking at the potential for some more flooding out there. Here's the snow, and it's picking up on maybe a little bit of a mix out towards Chester, but I got to tell you, at 4,500 feet, that might be pushing it. That's getting rather low for that snow. But there you can see, I mean, where we are going to see snow, it's going to be heavy. I mean, as you go above 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 feet, we're going to be measuring the snow in feet easily. Look at the peak of Mount Shasta. I mean, that's white. That's going off the scale here. That's going to 18 plus. That's 2, 3, 4, 5 feet, right? We head out towards Lassen Peak, right? We're getting kind of above that 18-inch range as well. So again, above 6,000 or 7,000 feet, we're going to be measuring the snow in feet. All right, so look at the forecast winds, and you can see as we go through midnight tonight, we are seeing some gusty winds making their way into the valley. Then we go into Saturday morning, Saturday around noon, still gusty in the valley, but the wind's beginning to pick up now in the eastern mountains. Not to mention central Siskiyou County and Shasta Valley, that is going to be very windy, especially for the high-profile vehicles. That could be a concern, but still gusty even along the coast as well. Taking to Saturday evening, still a little gusty in some spots here, but it looks like it is showing signs of getting weaker, and that'll be the case here as we take you into your Sunday as well. But you'll notice again, Shasta Valley and central Siskiyou County still looking at very gusty winds. Warm subtropical air, one storm system after another coming in at least through the middle of next week. But this flow that's going to pretty much push all of this moisture and these storms in is going to turn more to the north here. And there's a reason for that. High pressure will build in by the end of next week, but it's a weak ridge of high pressure. Now, the fact that it's weak will still allow some storms to maybe push through, especially by around Saturday. So a week from tomorrow, we could be looking at potential for some more wet weather kind of entering the picture. So here are your wave heights. Okay, so we take a look at the next couple of days. And you can see here, as we go into your Saturday, they're still going to be fairly high. We're really not going to see a whole lot of change in those wave heights over the next few days. Here's your forecast for today, at least your highs. Temperatures will be in the upper 50s for many of us in the valley, and for the mountains, mainly in the 40s, but for the coast, low 60s for your daytime highs today. Looking at your 7-day outlook, and there you can see, of course, the snow levels. I'm going to keep it a broad brush snow level forecast at 5,500 feet. At their lowest, 5,000. but will probably be closer to 6,000 feet and higher through the extended period here. Temperature-wise, not much change, keeping those temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 40s for pretty much everyone in the higher elevations, from Mount Shasta, El Turris, to even Susanville. Looking at your 7-day outlook for the valley, off and on chances for rain. Rain later today, of course, getting closer to the evening hours, off and on rain through the weekend, and we could continue to see those chances for showers even into Thursday of next week. Your 7-day outlook for the North Coast, and of course not to mention Trinity County, again, those snow levels fairly high, 5,500 feet on average, but probably closer to 6,000 feet as we go through the next 7 days.